Looks more like semen than water. It is what it is.
Okay. So I can leave that in because I know you don't watch the first 10 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm. I don't watch any of it, mate.
I
I was there for making it. Not there for watching it.
Did you at least watch that clip I sent you of the intro?
I
So you
did.
actually know that we have an intro now.
I did. Beautiful.
Like,
Fucking sounds Mickey Mouse, mate.
for those unaware of after last week's episode, Ash informed me that he did not know we had an intro.
Oh, so this is actually part of the podcast. Okay. I see.
No,
We're raw dogging
you
this. Okay. All right. Well, I'm here now.
Would you like?
I'm entering
would
podcast
you like me to
mode.
take out the season part?
No, I can stay. That's fine.
Okay.
Means someone's coming.
It's like you're going to see it
anyway. Yeah. All right.
Oh, mate. Man, this is going to be a big season. This is going to be a big year.
Yep.
We've got a fair bit to go through with finals format, couple new drivers, a lot of driver changes. Last year before Toyota comes in.
All right. Well, you know where we're going to start, Dan? You don't know, but I know. I'm going to get you, because I still don't understand myself fully and properly, in the most simplest way you can, break down the finals format. In the, stupid simple. Just as little words as possible, and give us a good general idea.
I think if we're going to be breaking down simply, we're going to try and ignore the cup.
It doesn't have to be perfectly explained, but the good general gist.
Let me
get yapping, boy.
Let me begin.
Get yapping.
Ash, let me pack it up. Let me pack it in.
All right.
And let me begin.
I'm strapped in. Let's do it.
Chuck went right over his head. So, there he goes. So we've got 3 parts of the season. We got the sprint. So we got the sprint cup. Let me get my thing in front of me so I can be accurate on which rounds these are.
Yeah.
So the sprint cup is round 1 through to 8. So from Sydney all the way through to Ipswich or Queensland Raceway, whatever you want to call it. Now this pretty much runs like the season we've always had. The points are all the same. The only difference is the point system is now a bonus point for fastest lap.
Okay.
There'll be 5 bonus points for the fastest lap within the top 15.
Okay.
So you can't, like Formula 1, you can't just do a last-minute pit stop when you've got no fuel in the car, throw a set of greens on it, and still the fastest lap. You must be still in the top 15 to gain those extra 5
competitive
points.
Position to an extent.
Yeah. So at the end of the Sprint Cup, the championship leader, so let's say if it was this year, would have been Will Brown, they will be crowned the Sprint Cup champion. They will be guaranteed a spot in the finals, which we'll get back to later, and a bonus 25 points to be used in the finals, which we'll also get back to later. Now we move to the Enduros. The Enduros run like they always have. Pretty much imagine the old Pertec Enduro Cup. Exact same system. There is no fastest lap for the Enduro. There's no fastest lap for the Enduro races. All the points are still the same. At the end of the 2 Enduro races, the what's been called the Bend Motorsport, the Bend Enduro. I don't know why they're not calling it 500.
Because they dropped sand down. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's all part of contracts. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we've got
so
kill.
After the combined points from the Bend and the Bathurst 1000, after those 2 races, the winner of the combined total points from those 2 races will be called the Enduro champion.
Okay.
Now, very clearly, this only extends to the primary driver. This does not extend to the secondary driver. They're not crowned anything. And I also believe that wild cards are ineligible. So, while it's unlikely that Zach Bates and Craig Lowndes is going to win the Enduro Cup, if they were to, they're not guaranteed a spot in the finals. They are a wild card. My belief is you have to enter in every round. Maybe not compete, but be entered as a starter.
Okay.
So you got to be a main
team.
Driver.
Yeah.
Right. So after all that, we get our top 10.
Yep.
top 10 in the standings. They are through to the finals. If one of the two cup winners are outside the top 10,
Yep.
then it'll only be the top 9 and the cup winner, and the cup winners if they're both outside the top 10. Now, the likelihood of the championship leader at round 8 not being in the top 10 by round 11 is pretty much zero.
Yep.
The likelihood that the Enduro Cup will not be in that top 10, the Enduro Cup winners on the top 10 either, is probably zero as well.
Yep.
Cut that out later.
Carbonated.
Carbonated. So we get the top 10 with the Enduro Cup winners inside it.
Yeah.
Like I said, if for some reason if those two aren't in it, it'll be the top 9 or the top 8 with them added on. Now, what happens from this point is the points are reset to, off the top of my brain, I believe they're reset the first time to 4,000. So the top 10 get the points reset to 4,000 across the board even. This is done to push them away from 11th. So no matter what happens for the rest of the season, 11th can never catch 10th. So no matter what happens in the rest of the final system, 11th will always be 11th. They cannot go to the top 10.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Just to make it simpler on the standing system. So they reset the 4,000, and then the championship leader will get an extra 150. Second will get an extra 130, and then so on down until I think 10th gets an extra 70 points. So they've still kept in their order by a few points, but it's like a safety car. It's a big points safety car that bunches everyone up, but everyone's still in position by those little points here and there. Now, for the Sprint Cup winners, those extra 25 points they won by winning those cups, they get added on. So they say if it was Will Brown, if the system was in this year, Will Brown would have won both the Enduro and the Sprint, so Will Brown would get an extra 50. Let's, for argument's sake, say Will Brown wins the Sprint, but Brody Kosecki wins the Enduro. Will Brown gets an extra 25, Brody gets an extra 25, and it's added to that initial reset.
Okay.
So now we move to the first final, the Gold Coast, which is 250-kilometre races. Now, at the end of this round, the bottom 3 drivers will be dropped. So only the top 7 continue in the final system.
Okay, so we go from... Is that from the weekend itself or from the first race of the weekend?
From the weekend overall, we go from... After the 2 races, the top 3 on points will drop. They will no longer continue to be in the final point system.
Okay, so they will continue. They're in the grand final in a sense, but they've taken away out of the finals. They've kind of secured their spot. Again. They've secured their position.
Yeah, I'll explain that. I'll explain that in a second how that works. But I want to dispel something quickly now.
Yes.
Unlike what some people think, all 24 cars will still be on the grid. Throughout this whole process, every car will still be on the grid and still be eligible to race wins and for points. It'll just be who's eligible for the championship. Okay. So, like I said, we leave Adelaide. We leave Adelaide and the top bottom 3 are dropped unless they win one of the 2 races in Adelaide. In which case, they are guaranteed to the grand final. So no matter what happens, if they win the first race in Adelaide and DNF the next 3 races, it doesn't matter. They're through to Adelaide. Yep. They are through to the grand final in Adelaide. So you can have a possibility of 2 people that get guaranteed a spot out of those 2 races.
Yeah.
There's no bonus points for these 2 races either, like the Enduros. Now we move to Sandown. Again, the points are reset. This time, I believe, if I'm correct, it's reset to 5,000. But it doesn't really matter. They've pulled another 1,000 points ahead. So it's either 4,000 or 5,000, I can't remember.
And that's from,
1,000.
Is that from 7th to 8th where that is spread, or is that from 10th to 11th again?
First to 7 is pulled forward unless one of those bottom 3s is a race winner. In that case, the next lowest car. So let's say...
so they kind of get leapfrogged in the order and then it goes kind of thing. Yeah,
so let's say whoever's 8th in the championship wins a race. Let's say they win the last race at Gold Coast. while then sixth drops out. Then seventh drops out. They might have more points, but this one here won a race,
Yeah.
so he continues, and then next car above them drops out,
Okay.
or the next car on the next car at risk of elimination drops out.
Yep.
So we move to Sandown. Again, the points are reset. Same thing again. They reset to 4,000. Leader gets X amount. Second gets X amount. Everyone's separated by about 25 odd points, give or take.
Yep.
This time, no bonus point for the cup winners. Everyone's on their own. In Sandown, very much the same situation. The bottom three will drop out at the end of the Sandown round unless they win one of the two races at Sandown unless they win one of the two Sandown races or have won. Well, this is complicated, dude. Piss off. Or have won one of the two races at Gold Coast. So at the end of that process, we have the top four, including up to 4 race winners from those 4 races. Which means this is probably the only part that gets a little bit worrying. There is a scenario here where the championship leader could be leading the championship all the way through, but 4 different drivers that aren't him have won a race in the last 2 rounds. Therefore, the championship leader will be knocked out.
Oh, okay. Is that something that you reckon was just overseen? Is that
no? I think that's
on purpose.
I'll get into my views about this. I'll get into my views about this in a second. I really want to just get all the information out of my head first.
Yeah.
So I want to.
I did kind of dump this on you, so.
No, it's like I said, I've been making a video about it, so this is good practice for me to make sure we're still there. Yes. So we go to Adelaide, the top 4.
Okay.
Top 4 points plus whoever won a race in the last 2 rounds.
Okay, so we could have up to 8 drivers, essentially.
No. 4.
4.
That's what I misspoke there. So it'll be the top 4 made up of either the highest points paying or whoever won the races at Gold Coast or Sandown. That's what I mean. Like that's where that possibility of the championship leader dropping out because 4 different drivers that weren't him won a race in the last 2 rounds, which puts on the pressure. But we'll get into that in a second. So we roll into Adelaide.
Yeah.
Again, the points are reset. This time to 5,000. The championship leader gets an extra 50. Second gets 35, I think it is. Oh, no, 25. Third gets an extra 15. And fourth gets nothing. They just stay on 5,000 flat.
Okay. Yep.
Now, there's 3 races across the Adelaide weekend, each one paying out a maximum of 100 points, plus the extra 5 points for fastest lap, because the fastest lap bonus comes back for the last round, being the 500 format.
Okay.
Whoever has the most points leaving Adelaide will be champion.
Okay.
So, where I like how this works is it puts a lot. You got to be consistent throughout the season. You got to make it into the top 10 to start with, and then you got to keep that pressure on all the way through the finals. You can't just.
So it's nothing new to like building a championship. It's nothing new in that sense.
No, it isn't. It's just a lot more pressure because now it's a lot harder to win.
Yeah.
It's still the same to get yourself in the opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's now a lot harder because you got to, as soon as you hit the ground at Gold Coast, you got to either be punching as much points as you can or to win a race.
Yeah.
And like I said, if the championship leader, this is where the pressure comes in. If your let's say it was Will Brown this year.
Yeah.
Let's say it was last year and it was Will Brown coming in the Gold Coast. Will Brown would be sitting there thinking, if I don't win a race, if Cam wins a race, if Chaz wins a race, if Brock wins a race, and someone else wins a race, I'm fucked. There's no amount of points you can come out of Sandown with and still be in the top 4 if there's 4 race winners from Adelaide and Gold Coast. So you got that pressure there of I have to be A, on top of the points, and B, ideally win one race. One race you can relax a little bit knowing that your spot's guaranteed until Adelaide. But then
Okay, yeah.
you roll into Adelaide and everything's out the window again. Like I said, it's like a point safety car. The top four, the people we care about, the top four that have won themselves or put themselves in points range of the championship to get them in that top four, big safety car puts them all together. But now going into Adelaide, the gap between first and fourth is only 50 points. It's 100 points for a race win. I
Yeah.
think even coming, if you finish 25th, it's still 30 points.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you came last qualifying, last classified car.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a so that's what everyone talk about. It's not to NASCAR. Because NASCAR is you got to win a race to be in it, and then it's literally winner takes all the way up to the end of the season. Where
Yeah.
this is
You got to keep your
no
foot in
winner
the
takes
door.
all. You got to come. You can come fifth or sixth, whatever in Adelaide, but you just got to be consistent over the other four. And it
Yeah.
also means mathematically, I think I did the maths on this late last year. I'm pretty sure the only way for the championship to be sealed before
Yeah.
the race on Sunday is if a second through the fourth DNFs both races and the championship leader wins the first two races. That's the only mathematical way they can roll in the Sunday with the deal done.
All right. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And even then, that doesn't minimize the. I think it would be very difficult. It'd be very difficult mathematically to roll in to Sunday with, oh, all I got to do is 12. Yeah, we get that all the time. All he's got to do is roll around. He's just got to get 12.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that will happen much. It will be there'll still be some mathematics. It might be okay. I've got to get second, but
But
that still puts a lot of pressure on.
that's still up the grid a lot more further.
Yeah, it's still a lot of pressure, and it's a look. It's going to be guaranteed a minimal two team fight. It's
Yeah.
going to be a minimal four driver fight. And like I said, the other 24 cars plus wild cars are still there.
Yeah.
You're not jostling between four other cars on the track. You're jostling between everyone else, and everyone else doesn't give a fuck about your championship.
Yeah. They want to
They
get
want to
there.
win the race.
Fucking...
They want to win a race as much as you want to win that title, but they don't give a fuck about you. You got to navigate them. You got to play like mind games in your head of is it try to let so and so through for the race win and take second, even though it's going to put me in a worse position for tomorrow. But if I fight with them and have a clash like Brock and,
could write my
Brock
car
and
off.
Chaz did,
Yeah.
could write the car off, then you're out for Sunday. Or it could, you could drop a heap of points, and now that nice gap you built on Friday,
Yeah.
so how did you build a gap of points over second on Friday by you winning and then coming third or whatever,
Yeah.
and now you power off on Saturday and you come last or you DNF at all. Now that gap's fuck all,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you're going into the final race where you might not just lose the championship. You might drop the third. You could drop the fourth.
Yeah.
If the circumstances line up. It's a real dogfight. I'm really excited for this. I know everyone's shitting on it. I think it's gonna be great.
They can only
I'm not gonna say it
try
doesn't,
something new. Like, it doesn't hurt to
I
give it a
think
go. See how it goes for a couple of years.
I think give it a solid 2 years. Look, if we come in 2 years' time and it's buggy and it's fucked, whatever.
Yeah.
Fine, let's go back to it. Nothing's set in stone in this world. Everything can be changed.
Yeah.
But let's give it a crack. I don't think it's gonna be perfect. I think there's going to be... I've sat here, obviously, a lot and tried to pull it apart. I've really sit there and think, how do you become an undeserving champion in this?
Yeah.
And it's hard, because, like I said, with that scenario of, the championship lead doesn't make the top four, people saying, oh, that's not an undeserving champion. Hang on. One of those drivers that knocked him out, all four of those drivers that would have knocked the championship leader out if that scenario happens,
Yeah.
they've all been consistent enough to be in the top 10 with 3 rounds to go.
Yeah.
They've all been consistent enough make it into... They've all been consistent enough to win one of those 4 races to knock out that champion. Like, the pressure's on both ways. I can't... Like, I've really tried to pull it apart and say, how can you... Like, cause we saw it in NASCAR this year where the champion, I can't remember his name, I can't remember the name of the NASCAR driver, but I think his average finishing all year was 17th, but he won one race,
Yeah.
which put him into the finals, and then he managed to come out on top on the final race and became the champion. Now, see, in this scenario, you're not going to do that. Like, your minimal is going to be to scrape in, you've got to be 10th. And that's
Yeah.
10th if the two cup winners aren't behind you. But that gives you great incentive. Like, look at Brody Kostecki this year. Erebus said, when Brody came back, Erebus said, well, the season's fucked. Let's focus on Bathurst.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, there's some rule. I'm not sure what the rule is if you're just going to be a main game registered driver or you actually got to be entered in every round.
Yeah.
But let's just say, okay?
Yep.
You can have a shit year. This gives you the opportunity where you have a shit year. You've had a shit one at the Grand Prix. You've had a shit one at Simmons Plains. You're not going to make the top 10. Let's focus on the Enduros. Bang! You won the Enduros. You got a second and a fifth. You're
Yeah.
the maximum points winner. You're now into the finals.
Yeah.
You might be 10th. You'll probably outside top 10 to start with, but you've pushed in the Enduros. You made the finals. Great, good on you.
Yeah.
But you're still not guaranteed a spot in Adelaide. Now it's time to put up and shut up.
Yeah.
You're now in Gold Coast. You've got to maximise your points or win a race. And if you can't put up and shut up through those two stages of the season and then do it again in the finals and all the way through the finals, I said, there's no reprieve until you win a race.
Yeah.
Until you win a race in Gold Coast or Adelaide, there's no reprieve. That's all pressure. And that's no different to when you win the first week of AFL footies. AFL the finals, you get a week off. But then you win a race, then you're thrown into Adelaide.
Yeah.
You're thrown into Adelaide where it's 3-on-1 for everyone. There's only 50 points between you and the leader, you and the fourth.
Yeah.
And you got to nail all three races at least against them to win the title.
Fucking hell. I understand it much better now. So thank you for that. Because that was a fucking that was a good 20-minute fucking spill there. So Jesus fucking Christ. It is a lot to get around.
Honestly, that's good to be up because I could save me a whole day of filming.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to dive us into who we have and where we have them in terms of driver to team for our preview. And just, we don't need to exactly review every single team and thing, but if there's a standout or weak... If there's a standout or weak fucking team, then by all means, just fucking... Because there are some definitely combinations.
Yeah, I want to make clear here too. The team order is... I forgot to update this. All my paperwork rolls over from the year before.
I see what you've done here.
So, the team orders in last year's... Not last year's, in 23's championship entry order.
That's an actual question I fucking had. With this new final system and points being fucked around, how's the teams working? Teams championship, what's...
Just normal. Normal.
Just
all this shuffling around, so like
just doesn't
I understand
happen.
the points one. I think the teams just get the points from the races.
Okay.
So my understanding when the points get reset and X drivers, top 10, top 7, top 4 get lifted up by a fair, the teams won't be.
Yeah.
But if
they just collect the points that the driver gets in the race, and then that's it. It doesn't fuck around with it.
That's my understanding. I've not heard anything to counter that.
Yeah, okay.
And I think the title is exciting enough as it is. But as I was saying, all my paperwork resets from the year previously when I blanked and started again. I forgot to reset this to last year's title before I sent it to you.
And that's
so
right,
it's going to be in the 2023 teams.
That's all right. All right, so first off, I'll kick us off with working out of the Erebus Motorsport Garage. We have Jack LeBrock and Cooper Murray. And out of the 888 Racing group, we have got Will Brown and Brock Feeney. Do you want to do Brad Jones there for us, Dan?
And I'll just run through the numbers as well while we're doing this. So, LeBrock's staying with the number 9. Cooper is taking the 99 now that the champion has led on from that team. Will Brown's going to be running the number 1 as the reigning title winner. Brock Feeney remains with 88. A lot of these won't be changing, but it's just good to go through them. and these are all Chevrolet teams too. So I'll take the next two. Another Chevrolet team. Do we do the two Brad Jones together or leave them split?
Ah, I don't know.
We'll leave them split sometime.
Leave them split.
So in the primary at Brad Jones team, or Brad Jones A, whatever you want to call them, we have Adrian Heingartner running the number 8,
Yep.
and Bryce Ford staying with the 14. And then the first Ford squad on this list, Tickford, remain again a two car team after dropping two cars last year. Cameron Waters stays on in the number 6 as the team leader, and Thomas Randall stays on in the 55. You want to take us from here,
Yeah.
Ash?
Heading into Dick Johnson Racing, we have got Will Davison running the number 17. Brody Kostecki has entered the garage there. We don't currently have a race number for him yet. There's a little bit of speculation about what that might be, but I couldn't tell you.
I suspect it'll be the 16, is my guess.
Heading across, keeping with the Mustang garages, but soon to be Toyota, we have Walkinshaw and Andretti United with Ryan Wood, number 2, race number 2, and we've got our last year's fan favourite Chaz Mostert, the most popular driver by vote, I believe, number 25. So heading to Grove Racing, Dan, if you would like.
Grove Penrite Racing. Matt Payne stays on again in the number 19. Rookie Kai Allen, who was with Dick Johnson Racing as a test and reserve driver and one of the endurance drivers, he's joined the team, replacing outgoing Bathurst winner Rich Stanaway, who will be taking Stanaway's 26. Now, big movements here. This was really a big talking point of last season. Team 18 suddenly, with no warning, dropped Mark Frosty Winterbottom. So Anton De Pasquale's moved on from Dick Johnson Racing. He will take Frosty's 18, and David Reynolds remains with the team in the 20 car.
That being their second time as teammates, I believe, as well, for Anton and David.
Yeah. Anton and David were teammates at Erebus from 2018 through to
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
So they've done 3 seasons together before they both left in more Erebus. This is what's crazy with the Erebus thing.
Mm.
David signed a 10-year deal. Like, they made a huge thing of, like, this is the biggest contract in Supercars touring car history.
Yeah.
Then left the year.
Fucking hell.
Go to Kelly Grove.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Erebus. Mate, you want to take us off to Premier?
So in Premier Racing, we recently have had the news a day or so ago that Richie Stanaway, who has moved into their seat there, he may well not be running the number 23 again. They're running a guess his number thing to get a little bit of merch and stuff, which is pretty cool. Dan and I both put our thoughts into it, but I reckon Dan's more on the money than me, because I just did a quick wiki of Stanaway and just turned up shit. But you can't win them all, and that's okay, because Dan's a very sharing bloke and will share with me whatever he gets. But yeah, that's Richie Stanaway. He doesn't have a number right now. And the other seat in Premier Racing we have right now is James Golding. It was very speedy last year, so hopefully he continues to build on that. Heading across to Matt Stone Racing, we have got Cameron Hill, number 4, and Nick Percat, 2 times race winner in 2024 with the number 10. And going to the second Brad Jones team, Dan?
Macaulay Jones stays on in the 96. Jackson Evans is back for his second year in the... by the sounds of it, so last year he ran the 12 all the way through the Sandown, and then he ran the 50, celebrating 50 years of is it JSC Transport?
Set Logistics or something? Is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Something like that. That was ran 50 years, so he ran 50 years because obviously they are the primary backer of that car.
Yeah.
So I believe he's going to return back to the 12, but don't be surprised if this car comes back as the car 50. That seemed to be really popular because they did keep that number on the car.
Yep.
And then finally, last car on the grid, Blanchard Racing continues on for with another rookie for their second year, Aaron Love. Very much a make or break year for Aaron. As we detailed last week, he's had a rough one. He had a lot of dramas last year. We know the kid's got the talent. He showed it in Super 2. He showed it in other categories. And he does have flashes of speed. Unfortunately, he just has flashes of walls as well. So hopefully Aaron Love can see a big improvement in his performance. And finally, and for the last time too, James Courtney in the number 7. James let it slip late last year. It was actually broke by us. We were the first out of the story that James Courtney is retiring at the end of the season to spend more time with his family and pursue his new career in real estate.
Yeah, sell some houses.
So 2010 champion. Yeah, so he's the 2010 champion. I believe, I could be wrong here, I believe he may be staying on as a co-driver for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I know he's definitely doing co-driving work. He said he's keen to keep co-driving. It just because does he continue with Blanchard or not.
Yeah.
I suspect he will.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting. I want to call this now. I reckon Aaron Cameron will be in the number 7 for 26.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Cameron recently, I believe, broke today that he's gone to Formula Regional. So he's actually stepped away from tin tops and is going to Formula.
Yeah.
So a bit of a change up there.
I know. I'll have to
see
how. I'll see if he balance or not. He can't. Man, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't make some Super 2 appearances. Unless he's already been given the nod from Blanchard of stay sharp for 12 months.
Yeah.
So I really struggle to say who's taking the seat. He came runner-up last year in the Super 2, and he only just missed out on it with some misfortune at Adelaide. So
yeah,
maybe they've said to him, go save yourself some money, do a cheaper category to Super 2, keep your skills sharp, because as Scott Pye was saying on his podcast, the Super 2 cars do not line up very well with the modern cars.
Oh, so there's almost no point in throwing them around if that's what you're doing.
No, it's the opposite. He was speaking to Brock Feeney, and apparently Brock Feeney told him that the cars are too close. He goes, I'm all paraphrasing this from what he said, Brock Feeney said. Apparently Brock said, these cars are close enough that you feel like a driving supercar, but because they drive so much differently with all the aero and stuff, they're very good to pick up bad habits, because the way you drive the old Gen 2 is not the same way you drive a new Gen 3. So you go from 1, because he did this all at that new 1 racing, with that new 1.
Oh, yeah. When he was doing the testing, I believe. Like, just the fuck around kind of day.
He did a couple of hot laps in his 22 car.
Yeah.
And then a few hot laps in his 24 car.
Yeah.
Saying, like, it's so easy to jump between the two and then suddenly realise what works in the Gen 3 doesn't work in Gen 2.
Yeah.
And vice versa. He goes, where I can jump in a GT3 Porsche, the car's completely different in every way.
Yeah, okay,
and that, why is that get crossed in your brain of, immediately that those are two different cars.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds kind of stupid. Like, how do you not know the difference? Well, you got to remember these guys are doing a couple hundred kilometres. They're trying to fuel save.
Muscle
they're trying
memory.
to look up the tires. They're trying to drive trying to drive the fucking thing. Muscle memory kicks in, and before they know it, they're trying to take a corner like a Gen 2, and they're in the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. That might be a really good point to where, especially in the first round, where I know this is more of a review at the saying this, but where Aaron Love was struggling because he had that. He was going from all this aero to fuck all. And so, and maybe that never left him too properly because he was so used to the Porsches and everything like that. So hopefully this year he has that cut off and he goes, right, I'm in a Gen 3, drive it like a Gen 3.
Well, he was accident prone in Super 2 as well, but not, merely Super 2 has about half as many races.
Yeah.
But nowhere near like what he was this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, mate. So, do we want to move on into the calendar and the formats?
Alright, yeah, let's hit it. So, we're going to do... Well, we're not going to do it. Sydney. Oh, you devious bastard, Daniel. So, what? Daniel, in the format that he's made, the table he's made, he's actually labelled the Sydney 500 as round 1. I think Dan refuses to call it
If you
the
say
opening round.
I'll fly there and belt you. I hate like, for no one that knows, because no one would know this. I came this close last year to missing out on the beginning of the footy season because they marked it opening round, and then the next round after that, round 1. So
Yeah.
they're still marked as round 1, but it's also opening round. Which
Yeah.
AFL.
Yeah, so we got for our opening round, we have the Sydney 500, believe it or not, at the Sydney Motorsport Park from the 20th to the 24th of February. We have 3 races, the first 3 races of the season. They are 1 times 100-kilometre race and a two 200-kilometre races. So I'm not sure exactly what days they're on.
Yeah, I'll go.
But
yeah, I do. Well, considering I wrote this, Ash, do you want to do the left side screen through to where it says Spring Cup, and I'll do the right?
whoa.
So I sort of meant this. I meant to send you a key of how to decode how I've written all this. So I've just squeezed a lot.
All right, I'll do.
So we got.
You do right. I'll do left.
So we've got 3 races. This is race 1 through the 3. Part of the new format system for this year is we're getting Friday races. Hence what Ash I've marked there at Friday. This is the first time we've ever done this outside the Grand Prix. So it's going to be for qualify. It's going to be 3 races. The Friday race is going to be 100 kilometres. The 2 Saturday and Sunday races are going to be 200 kilometres. Yep. The first race will have a qualifying format of a 2-part qualifying. So normal qualifying, and then top 10 will have a second qualifying session. Then the 2 weekend races, Saturday and Sunday, will have a 3-part qualifying session. So top 15, top 10, then a top 10 shootout.
Oh, okay, yeah. So 2 top 10s?
Yeah, one Saturday, one Sunday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But just a generic top 10 qualifying, followed by another qualifying session for the top 10 on Friday.
Okay, all right. I think I understand.
There's no shootout. Yeah, you'll see where it says 2TSOR is top 10.
Okay, all right. Taking us to our second event is the Melbourne Super Sprint, which in 2024 we saw plenty of action happening with Ford's Mustangs colliding just because they fucking could. And that is that's a 4-day event from the 12th to the 16th of March. What races do we have there, Dan?
We've got 4 races as per normal. We've got race 4 through the 7.
Yep.
All races will have the same qualifying format, which is format 1, which is just a plain 1 qualifying session.
Okay, just get your spot sorted kind of thing. Yep.
So last year they were all 15-minute sessions back to back for 2 and 2 and 2. Yeah. The first 3 races, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, will be 3 100-kilometre races. 105-kilometre races, sorry, or 3/4 of a Grand Prix distance. And then the Sunday race, ahead of the Grand Prix, will be 1 80-kilometre race. That's race 7.
All right.
You want to take to round
Taking
3,
us across the ditch back to New Zealand, the ITM Taupo Super 440. This is held at the Taupo International Motorsport Park, and we have a gap of about 1 month between, just shy of 1 month between these events. So this is from the 10th to the 13th of April, where we have races 8 to 10. Did you want to dive into that one, please, Dan?
Yeah, so race 8 to 10. A lot of these weekends are going to be 3 race formats.
Yep.
Pretty much they all are outside the Euros and the 2 finals with exclusion of the Melbourne 400. So we have 2 120-kilometre races followed by 1 200-kilometre race.
Yep.
The 2 120 will be on Saturday.
Yep.
Both of them on the same day. Oh, I'm shaking the screen. Sunday. Right. And then Sunday will be 1 200-kilometre race.
Yep.
So And then for qualifying, pay attention here because a lot of these are going to be this format.
Yeah.
For qualifying, the first two races, the Saturday races, will have a two-part qualifying.
Yep, that's
So
the
that kind
15
of
to
thing.
10, is
One
it, or something?
that's the grid drop to 10, and then a second qualifying session of just normal 10 cars doing 10 minutes or so, fastest gets pole. The third race on Sunday has the full free 15, 10, and then top 10 shootout.
Okay, yep. Yep,
So
alright.
pay attention to that. This is called the 440 format,
Yep.
and we're going to be using this for. I'm
Oh,
not going to do
I
that
see
over
it
again. I'm
now.
just going to say that's the
I,
four. Yeah.
I see it now. Alright, so another...
So that's
Keeping with the 440 format, as Dan just explained, we have the Tasmania Super 440 at Symmons Plains Raceway. Once again, we're going with monthly interviews intervals by the looks of it. So this one is from the 8th to the 11th of May. Do you reckon, we were there last year, Dan, sorry to butt in, do you reckon this format's good for Symmons Plains?
I'm excited.
Yep.
I've never seen live a 100-kilometer race at Symmons Plains. It's either going to be hectic or fucking boring.
Fair enough.
It's going to be better than last year when we had that boring 200-kilometer races that sucked last year.
Yeah, yeah.
440 again. I just went through it before. Race 1 through the 13.
Yeah, 11 to 13, not 1 to 13, mate. Calm down.
Yeah. Sorry, 11 to 13. That 30-day, they are starting to close the gaps a little bit here with these Gatston races.
Yeah.
I believe, though, for the 4-day break between the Grand Prix and Symmons Plains, they're going to try and float the cars over there and back. The last couple of years, they've had to either fly there and back, which is very expensive, or at least fly there and float the cars back on the ship. Obviously, ships are a lot slower, but it's also a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
so
bloody oath.
I think that's what they're going to do. There's talks for next season 26 of them actually going forward with 2 rounds in New Zealand to make that price more worth it.
Oh, okay, yep. So there'll be like 2 or even might possibly be 1 week apart because Tassie isn't that big. Taking us across to the western side of Australia, we have one of the final races, one of the penultimate race, penultimate race at Wanneroo Raceway.
No, they've got 3 more years.
3 more?
Years.
3, 4? Well, they're in the...
25, 26. Yeah. Penultimate.
Yeah, so they're looking at starting it in 27, so this year is the penultimate, I believe, if I know my words. We're at Wanneroo Raceway, the track that is very much known for taking the crap out of the rear tyres as the sand-blasted, essentially, track. It's just so aggressive on the tyres, it's just happily going to rip them up.
No, actually, so this is I'm going to stop right there. This is a common misconception, and I heard this from a Formula 1 engineer on a YouTube interview. So it does make sense in your head. Like, more rough the surface, more chews up the tyres. That makes sense in your head.
You've told me this before. It's come to me now.
I definitely have. More smoother it is means more slippage, and more slippage means more wear. So really, ideally, obviously there's a limit of how rough you want the surface.
Yeah.
But you want the surface rougher than the tyres it's on the body to.
Yeah.
This is why we have problems when we get surface tracks, that they're often very hard to drive on because they're nice, smooth, and fresh. You need some time for that top layer of shit to come off and reveal the more grittier stuff underneath.
But because the sand is always filling all these little cracks, it never actually
my understanding is just sandblasting constantly.
Yeah.
Just constantly sandblasting the surface. If I'm wrong, if there's any engineers out there and I'm just full of shit, come correct me. I'm only going off what I've been told.
From there, once again, it is a 440 as the last 2 events have been. So we have races 14 to 16. I don't think we need to deep dive that again, but if you want to, we can.
No.
All right, taking us across to an event that Dan and I would so dearly love to attend in the next coming couple of years is the Better Darwin Triple Crown at Hidden Valley Raceway. This one doesn't actually... No, this one is a 440. It just doesn't have it in the name. That is from the 19th to the 22nd of June.
At least it's a Triple Crown with 3 fucking races. Goddamn last year. One part of the crown for qualifying. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, 440. There's not much more to say about that. Darwin, the Indigenous round, that's always fun to watch.
Yep, absolutely. Always good to see in the comments the people who don't care about supercars all year long until they throw a bit of dawn red and a bit of a golden circle on the cars. That's when people start to seem to care.
Did you see someone commented on one of our stuff? I can't remember. I think it might have been the Thursday poll. Someone commented last week about who cares is the shit category anyway.
I did see that.
Comment this on our page. They commented it on our page, shared into a Supercars group.
Yes, I did see that, and then I checked it today as well, and someone had actually said to them, "You're in a Supercars group," and I so dearly wanted to say that. I want to say, "Hey mate,
that was Mitchell Bruce.
Look where you look up before you throw a stone in a glass house."
I've said it so many times. All the people that come out every fucking week, category's dead. It's shit. I'm not watching anymore, and then they're back next week. Look. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life, but if you're saying you're gonna fuck off,
they're back next. They're back next week, and they know what happened last week. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love fans, but
it's not an airport. If you're telling us you're leaving, fucking leave. Don't come back next week with more complaints. Fuck off. Don't. You're either here to ride.
Yeah.
Or you're not. Don't hit me with this. I'm not watching anymore. Then don't watch anymore.
Don't watch. Leave the groups. Leave. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, that's probably a sin bin thing. That's a real sin bin moment.
If you're saying you're fucking off, fuck off.
Yeah, you're ranting so hard right now. Every now and again, your mic's cutting out. It's really adding to this experience. Alright, so anyway, we were at the Better Darwin Triple Crown. We're going to head to Townsville for the 500. Now, this is one that we saw at Sydney opening round. Do you want to punch us through that one again, please, Dan?
Sorry, Ash, before we move on, I just want to add something. No, I don't. Sorry, I had on the wrong thing. This works out for this race anyway. Continue, Ash.
As I was I guess, segueing out the rant into, we're moving on to the Townsville 500. Now, we did have a 500 at the opening round, the Sydney 500. This is at the Reed Park Street Circuit, 10th to the 13th of July. Do you want to take us through what a 500 involves again, please?
Yep, so same as Sydney. Again, a Friday race. I was actually trying to interrupt you for because I thought there was a Friday race in Darwin, but I had me list down one road.
Yeah.
So Friday race again for race 20s through to 22. Again, a 2-part qualifying for race 20 and 21. A 3-part qualifying followed by a top 10 shootout for race 22. 100 kilometres on Friday afternoon. 200 kilometres on Saturday and Sunday. And that's what I'm going to say. And, of course, as I mentioned earlier, all these races are bonus 5 points for fastest lap. Now, Ash, do you want to take us to the final race of the Sprint Cups?
All right, so heading to Ipswich in Queensland, I'm not actually sure the last time that we raced there. It would have, dare I say, maybe 4 to 5 years ago, at least.
2018, I believe, was 2018 or 2019, I believe was the last one.
Yeah, so it's been a minute. Through their socials, we've seen that they have been doing a lot of upgrading. So they've put in a big ass shed and all that. And they've also added rumble strips along some of the curbs. I'm not sure exactly what corner exits or corner entries, wherever it might be. So they're definitely. Is it Terry Quinn who owns Ipswich? Is that?
Tony Quinn owns the circuit. Same bloke who
Yep.
owns Topor, Highland. I
Uh,
believe he owns something else.
yeah. So Tony Quinn is
And,
pumping cash in.
and he owns 1/3 of Triple Eight Engineering Racing.
God damn, he's done well. Anyway,
Which
good on you, Tony
means,
Quinn, for pumping cash in.
I believe this will be the first time since Bob Jane raced his own car at Calder Park, which he obviously owned.
Yeah.
This will be the first time since then a team that's had an owner race at their own circuit. So he will own this weekend. He will own 1/3 of Triple Eight,
Yeah.
or I guess you want to mathematically like a quarter of Brock's car.
Yeah.
And he owns the entire circuit. So that's weird. 550 format again, a Friday race for race 23. All the same, we just went through it all again. This is the last race of the sprint series. So at the end of this round, whoever's championship leader, sprint cup winner, extra 25 points for the finals, and a guaranteed spot in the Gold Coast.
Okay.
Jumps.
Beautiful. So that leaves the Sprint Cup behind, which is, as we explained earlier, we're not going to go through all that again because that was a solid 20 minutes of damn blowing my brain apart. So we're heading from this point on. We're in the Enduro Cup, which Sandown has sadly lost. I guess it's rights it's rights to holding an Enduro event.
So my understanding to this, and if anyone knows the correct wants to correct me, let's go for it. But this is my understanding of it is that they couldn't put 13 rounds on last year. They needed something to drop so you get Topor on, and that was really important for Supercars to get Topor back on.
Yep.
Now they said to the Bend, because the Bend had a contract for this season, they said to him, "Are you willing to drop it?" And I believe the answer the Ben came back with is, "We'll drop this year if we get a 5-year extension, and at least 3 of those years they hold the 500."
Yeah. Okay. So this being the first.
First of at least 3 years. It's my understanding. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't claim to be Google.
This event is held from the 11th to the 14th of September, and it's just one race, as the Enduros are. I believe, if I'm reading this right, it's a 1-part qualifying with a top 10 shootout at the end of it. So that will be on Saturday. I believe they'll probably roll out Saturday morning, do their quali, and then a couple hours later they'll go do top 10 shootout. Is that what we're looking at here?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then on the Sunday, we're just running a single 500-kilometre race. Do you think that 500-kilometre race will provide entertainment as a viewer? Like, obviously, you've got the stakes of the finals and all that in play, but in terms of on-track action, will there be side-by-side racing?
I will be praying safety cars.
Okay. Yeah.
The Ben's great. The Ben's great for sprints. Don't enjoy there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing. Even if you spear off, unless you spear off where the pit lane is, you got to spear off bad to hit a wall. Like to hit a wall and require something that pulls out.
You've got to lose your brakes.
It's really
basically brakes or steering has to go.
The only way we're getting safety cars is if someone hits the pit lane wall, or if there's a crash between 2 other cars that leaves one of the cars stranded. Outside of that, everything's going to be. I'm not. I'm happy.
Might be one to sleep through.
Chill.
Yeah.
It'll be one to watch. TV at home. Yeah.
From there, hopefully we don't get a repeat necessarily in terms of. Hopefully the mountain has a bit of bite this year. So we next head to the Repco Bathurst 1000 at Mount Panorama. I don't need to really say any more than that to explain the circuit to you. That is being held this year from the 8th to the 12th of October. Once again, another 4-day event. That brings a lot of categories to the mountain and a lot of show and buzz. It's our standard This is race 27, and we've just got one part qualifying with a couple hours later, late evening. I think it's traditionally the top 10 shootouts, so the supercars are the last on track, and then Sunday we go for 1,000 Ks.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
that brings, hopefully Bathurst.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of the enduro section too.
Yep.
So again, like I said earlier, out of those 2 weekends, whoever has the most points, they're the Enduro Cup winner. An extra 25 points for Service Paradise, and a guaranteed spot in the top 10 in Service Paradise.
Yep.
Speaking of Service Paradise, Ash, let's go to the Suns. Take us through it.
Yeah. So, do you want to take us into the Gold Coast 500? That always is a very a street circuit that promotes a lot of bashing around and flogging your car's suspension and left-hand mirror.
It's what more to say. It's basically Monaco of Australia. It's tight, it's twisty, it's full of walls. We love it.
Being the finals, do you reckon people will find opportunity to overtake more?
Yes, I think there'll be pressure on
desperation
there.
will kick in a little.
If you're sitting 7th and you got no chance of winning a race, you want to be sitting. You'll be thinking of one of these 3 boys behind me wins a race. I want to be at least 4th. So the pressure's going to be there all the way through just to be above 7th plus. Winning a race you don't have to worry about. So like we talked about earlier, lots of pressure. This is the second 500 format. So as I fight for my guts. Oh, there it is. Thank you. It's been fighting me all.
I'm going to call you Carby soon as a nickname.
No, it is. If I sit here by myself, I'm fine. It's me talking.
Yeah, it's you just having a yap, mate. Having an absolute yap.
Yeah. So this is what we can call, let's call it 500B format. Both races, so 2 races, race 28, race 29. Both races will have the same 3-part qualifying, rolling into a top 10 shootout. So it's top 15, top 10, and then the top 10 shootout. 2 races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, both 250 kilometres. We pretty much have the exact same format this year for Gold Coast.
Yep.
And that will bring us into the penultimate round 12. Ash, where are we for round 12?
We are... It's called the Penrite Oil Sandown 500, but as Dan just said with the Gold Coast 500, we're splitting this race down the guts of it and doing 2 250k races.
Yeah, it's a 500, but it's not the 500.
Yeah.
Exact same format for race 30 and 51. 3-part qualifying, top 10 shootout, 2 250km races, one Saturday, one Sunday. Finals, like I said earlier, if you win one of these races, you are through to Adelaide, if you're within the top 7 by this point.
Yep.
And then that takes us to the grand final.
Yeah, and that is a very quick turnaround. So the Sandown 500 is from the 13th to the 16th of November, and quite quickly, if you write your car off, you hope you're a Melbourne-based team, pretty much. On the 26th to the 30th of November, so 2 weeks later, we have the Velo Adelaide Grand Final. It's on the street circuit, which was absolutely awesome to watch in person in 2024, and in the last race, it was racing how I think a supercar should be raced. Throw it in there.
I called it last week. Yeah. I called it the race of the year last week.
Yeah. So. Throw it in there. Bit of rough and bumping, but nothing where you're actually wiping out your opponents. But you're sticking it in. You're having a good crack because for the next 3 months, your car is in a workshop getting repaired and straightened out, and you're probably also getting a new chassis.
Yeah. And with new chassis, mate, we get, again, another new format. Yep. Just for the grand final. So we've got 3 races, race 32 to 34. There will be a race on Friday. So it starts Friday with another 100-kilometre race. All Friday races tend to be 100 kilometres for some reason.
I think it's just a real keep it easy, don't go breaking your car kind of thing.
Oh, well, they're going to be trying pushing it late because they want to push it out late as possible for people to watch it after getting home.
Yeah.
And then instead of 200, we've got 250-kilometre races for the rest of the weekend.
Okay, yep. All right.
So we've got 100 Friday, 250 Saturday, 250 Sunday. And then for the qualifying format, for the Friday race 32, two-part qualifying for the Sunday racing, three-part qualifying with a top 10 shootout.
Yeah, and just making a note of it because I've done the numbers here. We actually get 10 more races this coming year than we did in the 2024 season. So when people say, yes, the rounds might be less, but they're also every second race just about. Every second and a half race, in a sense, in terms of averages. We've added one more race to the round. So,
for comparison, at round 2, we're doing more racing around Albert Park than what Formula 1 is. Okay, they'll be doing more practice.
Yeah, covering more distance.
315 plus 80. I can't do maths, so let's call that around 400. 395 kilometres. So 395 kilometres compared to Formula 1's 303. We're literally doing almost 100 kilometres more racing around Albert Park.
So if you're doing the track invasion at Albert Park, remember there's a good chance you're not picking up Pirelli. You're picking up Dunlop. Just to put it to you like that. So I don't know if you want to sniff the composition of your rubber that you pick up, but it could very well be Dunlop and not Pirelli. Alright, so next up to keep us buzzing along here, we have some quick bold predictions to knock off.
You're frozen there.
I'll get mine up.
So I can give you a minute. See if we come back.
Yeah. Oh, you still there, Dan?
Oh, will you come back? G'day race fans, Dan from the future, the past. I'm editing this. As you might have saw, we had a technical issue. And by the time we got it sorted out, Ash had run out of time to record this week's episode, so we're going to split this into two halves. We've got the half that's already been recorded, that'll be put out as we regularly do. And then the second half, as soon as Ash has got some time, that we can sit down, both of us together, to record the last sort of little bit of the episode. We've got some more things coming up, bold predictions, plus some latest news about the Madstone Racing wildcard entry that broke after we finished recording. So we're going to try and get that second half out as soon as we can to match with this first half. But if you listen this far, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.